Abbas slams decision to pause funds for UNRWA. 9 Pakistanis shot dead by unidentified gunmen. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Jessica Lee and this is World Today. The spokesperson for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on Saturday criticised the decision by some countries to pause funding for the UN Refugee Centre for Palestinians or UNRWA. Britain, Italy, the Netherlands and Finland became the latest countries to pause funding for UNRWA in Gaza, following allegations that some of its staff were involved in the 7th October Hamas attacks.
This step, simultaneously taken during the war in Gaza, sends a wrong message. There is a war against the Palestinian people. This decision is incorrect and should be stopped immediately. We urge all these countries to repay the UNRWA because it's a humanitarian issue. It has been taken in a wrong time, and we hope that they will come back soon to understand that the need of the people in Gaza and everywhere is a necessity for continuing living on this earth.
The United States, Australia and Canada had already paused funding to the aid agency, a critical source of support for the people in Gaza, after the allegations by Israel. The agency said it had also opened an investigation into several employees and severed ties with those people. Palestinians in Gaza City scrambled to get sacks of flour on Saturday as hunger stalks the enclave where 2.3 million people have been living under Israel's bombardment since the 7th of October. The battered city, located in the center of the Strip, along with the northern area, have seen the fiercest fighting in Israel's battle against Hamas. Delivery of aid in the north and center of Gaza is rare, unlike areas near the Egyptian border that get limited supplies of imported food. Sean Casey, a World Health Organization or WHO coordinator in Gaza, said the food situation in the north was absolutely horrific, as there's almost no food available and everybody was begging for food. On Saturday, men raced from a UN Relief and Works Agency centre to get sacks of flour. Now, those lucky enough trudged back on muddy roads past bombed-out buildings. The United Nations also warned this week that pockets of the territory face famine. Ajit Sunghay, the head of the OHCHR for the occupied Palestinian territory, said it would also be disastrous if the bombardment or the street-to-street fight taking place in Khan Yunis move further south to Rafah, where some 1.3 million people are now massed in the town bordering Egypt in an attempt to evade the Israeli assault. Around 20,000 people marched in Madrid Saturday in support of Palestinians, a day after the UN's top court said Israel must prevent genocidal acts in its war with Hamas. Now, many of the marchers carried banners and placards denouncing the genocide in Gaza, which has been under relentless bombardment since the 7th of October. Some carried Palestinian flags and shouted slogans denouncing Israel, while others had banners thanking South Africa for having brought the case against Israel to the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ. Now, Spain, one of the most critical voices in Europe of Israel's offensive against Hamas, was one of those to welcome Friday's ruling. Now, relations between the two countries have soured over Madrid's position on the issue. Israel recalled its top diplomat in Madrid in November after Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez expressed doubts about the legality of Israel's war in Gaza. Now, South Africa accused Israel of breaching the 1948 UN Genocide Convention set up after World War II and the Holocaust. In its ruling on Friday, the ICJ said Israel must prevent genocide in its war with Hamas and allowed aid into Gaza, but stopped short of calling for an end to the fighting. The ruling was denounced by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as outrageous, and while many countries welcomed the ruling, others, such as Britain, expressed reservations. Relatives mourn the deaths of 9 Pakistani nationals killed by unidentified gunmen in a restive southeastern border area of Iran on Saturday, amid efforts by the two countries to mend ties after tit-for-tat attacks. Iranian state media said police were looking for 3 gunmen who escaped after the shooting. Baluch rights group Halvash said on its website that the victims were Pakistani labourers who lived at an auto repair shop where they worked, with 3 others were wounded, it said. The state media said no individuals or groups had claimed responsibility for the shootings in Saravan in Sistan, Baluchistan province. The shooting occurred ahead of a planned visit on Monday to Pakistan by Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian. The Pakistani ambassador to Tehran, Muhammad Mudassir Tipu, said on X, formerly Twitter, he was deeply shocked by horrifying killing of 9 Pakistanis in Saravan. Pakistani Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mumtaz Zara Baluch condemned the attack as horrifying and despicable and asked Iranian authorities to investigate the incident and hold to account those involved in this heinous crime. She stressed that the Pakistani embassy in Iran will do its best to repatriate the dead bodies at the earliest, adding that such cowardly attacks cannot deter Pakistan from its determination to fight terrorism. Iraq and the United States on Saturday held a first round of talks on the future of American and other foreign troops in the country, with Baghdad expecting discussions to lead to a timeline for reducing their presence. Washington had said that it had agreed with Baghdad on the launch of expert working groups of military and defense professionals as part of the higher military commission set up in agreement with Baghdad. The working groups would examine 3 key factors, namely the threat from Daesh, operational and environmental requirements, and the Iraqi security forces' capability levels. Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh acknowledged that the U.S. military footprint in Iraq will certainly be part of the conversations as it goes forward, indicating that Baghdad's desire for a reduction in these forces is on the table. For Iraq's foreign ministry, the aim would eventually lead to formulating a specific and clear timeline and to begin the gradual reduction of the coalition's advisors on Iraqi soil. The talks, which have been planned for months, come at a time of heightened tensions in Iraq and the region linked to the war between Israel and Hamas, which has sparked a surge in attacks on American and other coalition forces. Pakistani cricketing legend turned world leader Imran Khan is wildly popular in his constituency and ancestral homeland of Mianwali. But the political posters that line the streets do not bear his face, and flags do not fly his colours. A relentless crackdown widely attributed to Pakistan's powerful military has seen him and his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI party almost erased from the election campaign ahead of the vote. Jamal Ahsan Khan, who is standing for PTI in Mianwali in place of his leader, claimed that their party workers are facing harassment and he himself personally have received death threats. Now, Khan, currently in jail facing dozens of legal challenges, is barred from contesting elections on February 8th because of a graft conviction. Cases he claims are politically motivated. Now, across the country, PTI has been obstructed from holding rallies, and the heavily censored media is restricted in its coverage of the opposition, pushing the party's campaign almost entirely online. Now, dozens of candidates nationwide have also had their nomination papers rejected by the Electoral Commission. Like many other party candidates, loyalist Ahsan Khan has been in near hiding in the build-up to the election, unable to hold meetings or distribute leaflets. With 2 weeks until the vote, there is none of the fervour and excitement that usually marks an election in the country of more than 240 million people. Now, people and animals struggle to cool down in Bariloche, a tourist town in Patagonia, a normally cold and windy region in Argentina's far south, where a heat wave has brought record temperatures that exceeded 40 degrees Celsius. Now, 2 provinces have declared state of emergency due to fire risk until April, as firefighters continue to battle an out-of-control blaze in a national park, struggling to keep it from reaching 2 nearby towns. The fire in Los Alerces National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has already charred about 600 hectares. Mario Cardenas, head of the park's Fire, Communications and Emergency Department, said the fire is out of control, adding that conditions are unfavorable because we still have a lot of wind and high temperatures. Chubut province rescue workers were trying to block flames from reaching the towns of Esquiel and Trevelin, about 2,000 kilometers southwest of Buenos Aires. Los Alerces Park features glacier-carved landscapes, including rivers and lakes, and pristine forests of Arlesis trees, the second longest living tree species in the world. Meanwhile, forest fires have destroyed more than 17,000 hectares in Colombia since November, authorities said, as the country faces its hottest January in decades. Environment Minister Susana Mohammed said more than 340 fires have been recorded in that period, spurred by prolonged drought, record heat, and the El Nino weather phenomenon. Susana also said that 26 fires were still blazing. Colombia has been battling several fires near the capital since Monday, including some in the mountains overlooking Bogota, and authorities have advised residents living close to burnt areas to avoid going outside because of the poor air quality. Now, one of the fires is burning about 900 meters from Bogota's eastern El Paraiso neighborhood. The Colombian Red Cross said some residents affected by the smoke were being treated. Director of the Institute of Hydrology, Meteorology and Environmental Studies in Colombia, Ghislaine Echeverry, warned that February could see even higher temperatures, and only in March will rains help to mitigate the consequences of the extreme heat. Authorities are investigating whether arsonists are causing some of the fires, and police have arrested 26 people for fire-related offences. Next in sports, after Klopp, Xavi announces his exit plan from Barca. Stay with us.
Merentasi pantai timur laut semenanjung Arab yang membakar semangat perjuangan dalam memburu tahta berprestij di Asia. Detik-detik yang dinantikan kini diraihkan. 24 pasukan, 6 kumpulan, dibawakan dari 16 Januari hingga 10 Februari di saluran OK dan saluran sukan RTM. Piala Asia Qatar 2023. Heya Asia bersama RTM, official media partner. And we begin our sports segment this afternoon with hockey. The national women's 5A side squad ended their campaign in 2024 World Cup in sixth place after losing 4-8 to Uruguay in the 5th and 6th place playoff last night. In the action at Muscat, Oman, Uruguay drew first blood through 2 back-to-back goals in the first and third minute. However, the national squad retaliated and leveled the scoreline with goals from Zati Alyani Muhammad Zubir and Nur Zafira Aziz in the 4th and 6th minutes mark. Now, the score, however, did not last for long, as Uruguayan players Teresa Viana and Florencia Penalba scored 5 goals and 1 goal respectively to beat Malaysia. Nabil Fikri, Muhammad Noor Stars tried to stage a comeback but only managed to pull one goal before going down 4-8 to Uruguay. Malaysia began their group campaign on the 24th of January in style by hammering hosts Oman 10-0 before suffering a similar pounding at the hands of the Dutch in the second game. They then drew 4-4 with Fiji on Thursday before losing to South Africa the next day and bounced back to beat New Zealand 5-3 in the 5th-8th classification match.
And on to football, Malaysia's top striker Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim and forward Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanapi definitely stole the limelight in the 2023 AFC Asian Cups Championships. Now, Faisal was the only Malaysian player listed in the best 11 of the 2023 Asian Cup competition after the third group matches ended.
Faisal, who scored one of Harimau Malaya's equaliser in the sensational 3-3 draw against South Korea in their final Group E, had also placed himself among the top 3 strikers in the Asian Football Confederation, or AFC, top choice of players. The 26-year-old Selangor FC striker's goal was also the first scored in the country's 2023 Asian Cup campaign. Apart from Faisal, others in the list of strikers are Iraq's Ayman Hussein, the current leading top scorer in the tournament with 5 goals, and Japan's Ayase Ueda, who has 3 goals under his belt. Meanwhile, Arif Aiman was listed as future star by the official AFC Asian Cup Facebook page. Now, also in the list were Lee Kang-in of South Korea, Ali Jassim from Iraq, and Palestinian player Zaid Kunbar. Malaysia under South Korean coach Kim Pang-gon failed to qualify for the round of 16 after finishing at the bottom of Group E with 1 point behind South Korea, Jordan, and Bahrain.
Barcelona coach Xavi Hernandez said he will quit his role at the end of the season after the team's title defence was derailed in a remarkable 5-3 defeat by Villarreal on Saturday in La Liga. Now, after Real Madrid moved 2 points clear of Girona at the top of the league with a late 2-1 win at Las Palmas, the pressure was firmly on Xavi's defending champions in third.
After elimination in the Copa del Rey by Atletico Bilbao this week and a thrashing by Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final earlier in January, Xavi said he made the decision for the good of the club. Now, Xavi, who took over in November 2021, led Barcelona to the Spanish Super Cup and league title last season with the team built around a strong defence. However, this year, they are fragile at the back, and Saturday saw Barcelona let in 5 goals in La Liga at home for the first time since 1963. Now, Xavi said even if Barcelona won the Champions League, he would not change his mind and stay. The Spaniard, who starred in midfield for Barcelona between 1998 to 2015, said his departure had been inevitable.
Meanwhile, Jurgen Klopp's shock announcement that this will be his last season as Liverpool manager was hard to take for the players, but will spur them on even more for the rest of the season.
According to the Reds captain Virgil van Dijk, his teammate will close the season on high note to honour Klopp and his legacy at Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a hard one to take because the manager means so much for us, to me, to the club, to the whole Premier League, I think. But yeah, he made a decision for him and his family, and it was always going to be a tough one, and it was definitely the case.
Klopp has been in charge at Anfield since 2015 and in 2019 to 2020 led Liverpool to their first league title in 30 years. The German said it would be business as usual at the club, with Liverpool still in the hunt on 4 fronts: top of the Premier League, into the League Cup final, and still involved in the Champions League and the FA Cup. Liverpool host Norwich City in the FA Cup 4th round tonight before welcoming Chelsea on Wednesday in the Premier League, leaving them little time to dwell on the Klopp news. Victor Osimhen, Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane were perhaps the most likely bets to be top marksmen at this year's Africa Cup of Nations. But the entirely unexpected name leading the scorers charts in Ivory Coast has more goals than all of them combined. Emilio Nsue, the captain of unfancied Equatorial Guinea, goes into a last 16 tie with Guinea on Saturday after netting 5 times in the group stage. If Nsue keeps this up, he could break Ndaye's Mulamba's record of 9 in one AFCON for Zaire in 1974.
And my ambition, my mentality is to play against the best players. So for me, it's perfect. But to be honest, I don't think too much about that. I think that we have a big final. We know we cannot lose. We are going to give everything we have. And personally, of course, I will fight for score goals because I know and I think I am very close to get the top scorer if I score 1 or 2 more goals. So imagine, I am very focused to try to score, to try to help to my national team. And of course, the most important thing for us is to win and to pass to the quarterfinal.
Nsue scored twice in a 4-0 win over hosts in their final group game, having netted 3 in a 4-2 win over Guinea-Bissau, the first Cup of Nations hat-trick since 2008. Now ranked 18th in Africa, Equatorial Guinea, population of 1.7 million, is no footballing hotbed. But the Central African nation has made remarkable progress over the last decade, spurred on by hosting the AFCON in 2012 and again in 2015 when they reached the semi-finals. A quick look at tennis. India's Rohan Bopanna and Australian Matthew Ebden dug deep to win the Australian Open's men's doubles title on Saturday with a 7-6, 7-5 victory over Italian duo Simone Bolelli and Andrea Vavasori. Bolelli and Vavasori held their own in the opening set and earned their first break point at 5-all. But the Indian-Australian pair rallied to save serve and ran out easy winners in the tiebreak, backed by the crowd. The second set looked to be headed in the same way, going with serve and locked at 5-all until Vavasori's serve was broken, leaving Ebden to serve for the match. It is the first major win for the pairing, who lost last year's US Open final, and Bopanna will be world number 1 when the rankings are updated on Monday, with Ebden at number 2, having played 3 more tournaments during the ranking period. Bopanna also becomes the oldest male player at 43 to win a Grand Slam title, and the Indian finally tasted success in Australia in his 17th consecutive Open, having lost the mixed doubles final last year and in 2018. Vavasori was making his first appearance in a major final, while Bolelli won the men's doubles title in Australia in 2015. Hyundai's Thierry Neuville and Toyota's Sébastien Ogier go into the last day of the season opening Monte Carlo Rally, 3.3 seconds apart after battling for points in Saturday's longest leg. The championship scoring system has changed this year, with the leader on Saturday, Neuville, banking 18 points, providing he finishes on Sunday. Ogier, chasing a record-extending 10th Monte Carlo win on home roads in the French Alps, is assured of 15, while Toyota's third-place Elfyn Evans, now 34.9 seconds off the lead after being ahead on Thursday and Friday, gets 13. A maximum 12 more points are available on Sunday, 5 of them for winning the final power stage. Belgian Neuville went from third overnight to first by lunchtime service point, 5.1 seconds clear of Evans, who had hybrid power problems after winning 2 of the 3 morning stages. Now, France's 8-time World Rally champion Ogier replied with back-to-back stage wins to take the lead in the afternoon before Neuville clinched the closer and went back ahead. Toyota's reigning champion Kalle Rovanperä is absent from the opening round as part of the Finns' decision to run only a part-time program this year, leaving Evans as the team's main title contender. Bizarre and inspiring stories await you in our Offbeat segment. Billed as the world's smallest escape room, catalepsy is a mortuary-themed experience not apt for claustrophobes, where participants try to escape from a coffin in a live-action puzzle game developed by Spanish company Horrorbox in Barcelona. Participants have 30 minutes to free themselves from inside a coffin by solving various puzzles through teamwork with their partner, communicating via loudspeakers. It is designed for exactly 2 players. If one of them gives up at any time, the game is over for both. They are constantly monitored over CCTV security cameras by game master Aurora Alvarino, who defined escape rooms as a gym for the mind.
Es el más pequeño del mundo, entonces eso limita muchísimo las posibilidades a la hora de hacer los juegos o de escapar. Es más difícil escapar, tienes menos espacio. Y aparte estás recreando una situación que tarde o temprano viviremos todos. Vives tu propio entierro.
While booking their tickets, players are also able to customize several aspects, including the type of casket or whether they want to be cremated in a blaze of virtual flames and artificial smoke. British guerrilla artist Kasih celebrates toilet graffiti as a form of expression in a new exhibition opening in London on Friday. The show features work based on the anonymous scribbles left by Londoners in pub toilet cubicles that provide an unfiltered view into the thoughts and feelings of the British capital.
I think it's a fascinating reflection of our culture that isn't overly perfected, because we have a tendency to make sure that whatever we're saying is how we're supposed to be talking.
Some of it's really considered.
Working anonymously under the alias Kasih, a play on words including British slang word for toilet, Kasih, the artist, carried out research for his show by visiting 250 pubs and taking photographs of the graffiti he found in their loos. The exhibition's central piece is a black door covered in graffiti messages, painstakingly reproduced by the artist exactly as he discovered them using his own stenciling technique. Following in the footsteps of other pseudonymous artists like Banksy, Kasih said he wanted to keep his identity hidden to highlight the work.
This 11-year-old boy can hear.
This 11-year-old boy can hear for the first time in his life thanks to a breakthrough gene therapy treatment. Aisam Dam had no hearing whatsoever before the operation, and he communicated through sign language. Now he can hear when someone's speaking, even if he doesn't understand what they are saying yet. According to Dr. John Gurmila, the Director of Clinical Research in Otolaryngology at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, Aisam's deafness was caused by mutations of the otoferlin gene. A functioning otoferlin protein is necessary for the transmission of the sound signals from the ear to the brain. To help restore his hearing, surgeons inserted properly functioning otoferlin genes into his inner ear. Aisam, who lives in Spain, traveled to the United States in September to undergo the life-changing experimental treatment.
And with that, we reach the end of today's bulletin. In our top story, Abbas slams decisions by some countries to pause funds for UNRWA. Do join us again at 8:30 p.m. tonight on TV1 and Saluran Berita RTM for more news. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for watching.